Is it me or is it crowded here? Peace and quiet. I like it. And we have a bit of sun. It looks quite nice, doesn't it? Unfortunately, the heather's gone over now, so there'll be no pink tinged scenic vistas today. But I must admit, I do love the grasses. You have to admit, the golden brown of the dried flower heads is an attractive feature. And over the years though, I always say this whenever I visit this place, it's becoming more grassy than it is heather. A case of mismanagement over the years. But I do like the present mix, especially in this area of heather and grass. It's probably about 50-50, although not in the view you're looking at now. And the last time I was here, it was in the search for Corainus, the successful search for Corainus, which has now been identified, and it is Corainus aethiops. And the specimens found here, and presumably the nymph of a Corainus found on the adjacent Sherwood Forest Country Park, mean that Sherwood Forest area, or namely Budby, South Forest, is only the second site in the UK where it is proven to exist. And its finding here has really shut up a lot of the so-called experts who said no, it can't be here, this isn't the right habitat for it. Yabu sucks and all that. I do like to prove people wrong, you know. This is probably the last of the warm days, certainly for September. There's a change forecast to more unsettled conditions, and September has been bone dry, and you know what that means. Say after me, October will be wet. The weather always has a habit of evening itself out. But these grasses look lovely. There might be a few more shots like this. I'm getting quite arty, you know. Some old features on Budby have become lost. And here's one part where the heather has done brilliantly. This is actually a sunken track, not done by the Anglo-Saxons or anything like that. It's not a sunken road, done by the army, who used to take the heavy vehicles up here and they would camp in those trees. And it was a great little track. I used to love this track. Dennis and I had come down here because there was virtually no heather here at all, and on the right hand bank it was quite open and sandy, so it was good for a range of species, especially solitary bees, and it's always good just to have a poke around on. But it's gone now. To all intents and purposes, you'd have no idea that there was a track here at one time. And the bracken hasn't made any noticeable inroads into it. It's just been taken over by heather. There's a hint of colour in the heather, but it's past its best. And here's another track that's becoming less and less. This was another track that took heavy army vehicles, the troop lorries that used to come here, and now it's reduced to just a single footpath. I dare say in another few years you'll hardly be able to see even that. But it's quite a nice view though, isn't it? Well, I'm now further towards the centre of the heath, and if you break the heath down into 3 sections, call one eastern, one middle, one western, then I'm just entering the middle section. A lot of the fencing has been removed on Budby, but this is still compartmented off because it still has longhorns in it. And we've got a view there that's looking more or less northwestish across the heath. The disappointing thing personally for me is that of all these trees there is only one silver birch. I can see 4 or 5 small pines. All the rest of the trees are oak. But it's important that they have a mix of mature trees of both oak and birch, which are the two trees native to the area. Birch is your typical tree of heathland, and then comes the oak. But they have this enormous dislike of silver birch. It's UK wide, it's drilled into management that silver birch is useless. But it's far from that. People in countries like Sweden and Norway and Finland, they can make do with the silver birch very nicely, thank you. But what we tend to forget here is the importance of silver birch to a range of invertebrates, and the range of invertebrates is as great on silver birch as it is on oak. Not that they think of that though. And it's important to have a range, an age range of trees on a site. I mean, at the moment now, look, it's mature oak. I mean, these are mature oaks. There's no young oaks. There's no oaks about 10 feet, 20 feet tall. It's all one age. There is an arty-farty technical term which they call an age range of trees, but basically doesn't mean oak. It's all well and good I'm having all these sayings and mosaics and mosaic habitats and whatnot. It's nonsense. Makes them think it's good though. And there's a lack of age range is rife throughout the Sherwood Forest area. You've got mature trees, and then you have a few bits of scrub. There's no intermediate aged trees. Successional, that's the kind of term. But you need trees of different ages all the time. Not everything likes mature trees, invertebrate wise. In fact, there are some moths that will only lay their eggs on seedling birches and seedling oaks. That's a couple of Phalaenopteras. So it's important to have an age range of trees in any habitat, and this view shows the lack of that in Sherwood. And a nice scene, probably reminiscent of medieval times. If my cousin Richard and my uncle Wolf were here now, they'd be doing cartwheels over this lot. Richard would probably be weighing up how much he'd make at cattle market for them. This place used to be far more overgrazed than what it is now. There used to be not only English longhorns like these, but there'd be sheep as well. And it was grazed far too much. And it really affected the grass sward on Budby. And the number of moths and invertebrates declined as a result. So it's good that it is being less grazed. And these are the best way to do it. Just left to wander the heath. There used to be more compartments on Budby, but it's now been sort of opened up more, so it's less intensively grazed. It makes for a peaceful scene. There's a swallow wings its way south. Well, they let me past, which is good. I'm not wary, I'm not frightened of cattle, but you have to be wary of them sometimes, especially when they have got young. And there was a couple that were sort of stood staring at us, standing the ground. And the best way to avoid any kind of confrontation is to avoid eye contact and certainly look away and just give them a decent berth as you walk round them. They're quite happy enough, especially now I've gone past. One of the ways Budby's changed over the years, and especially the last couple of years, it's become more popular with the public. And on the main cross paths on the heath, there's nearly always somebody walking. One time a day, 20 years ago, the only people you'd see were the odd bird watcher. And before that, with the army and some bird watchers. So it's changed that way. To me, it's showing some signs of increased footfall, and have widened and scraped the paths a lot, but a lot of the grass in places is becoming increasingly worn. But there is a species of beetle that's a famous resident of Budby, although it is found throughout the Sherwood Forest area and other sites, forested sites that lie on sandstone soils in Nottinghamshire, and that's the minotaur beetle. And what I have noticed in the eastern part of Budby, from where I've walked, there is a total lack of minotaur burrows. Minotaurs make large burrows, and I'm hoping that there may be one actually plodding around on the surface somewhere. But it's only really struck me today that there is a complete lack of minotaurs where it used to be around Crown Hill, where the army used to have the camp many years ago, as I mentioned earlier. But down at this bottom end, which will soon be out of bounds for a length of time because they've got to dig out all the soil that has traces of cordite in it, which is going to be a big operation. Fortunately, not much ever grew where they exploded all the cordite years ago, and certainly it was also devoid of invertebrates. Even minotaurs wouldn't burrow into the ground. And further down there, right at the bottom of the distance that you can see on the path, that's oil beetle country, but not this time of year. Anyway, that's the way we're heading. And we'll see if we can find a minotaur, because it is an impressive species. It's turned in to an absolutely beautiful autumn day. You couldn't get better. Sorry, couldn't resist it. I did pre-warn you. I do love me a grass. And I love me a good view. And that's quite nice, isn't it? There's a bit of a breeze come from somewhere, but it doesn't spoil the view. Today's one of those days actually where it's quite good, because there's quite a bit of cumulus cloud in the sky, so you can get those effects of 1 minute it's in sunshine, then it goes in shade, and then back in sunshine again. And this now is the far end, the western end of Budby. It's changed over the years. The whole site has. Well, it's a fair walk back. This is the main area for oil beetles in early spring, and it's an area that has changed drastically in the few years since oil beetles were first found here. All the grassy area just in the foreground was once heather, even on the same as the path. The path was largely bare at one time. Well, it was a track. There's a little bit of a ridge with some heather and grass growth in the middle of it, just further down there. And it was ideal for oil beetles, but oil beetles have been left with no other option but to sort of leave this area now, and are now finding some scrapes over to the right of the screen. And the amount of heather has reduced by about 95% here. But that's the way we're walking down there, through the trees, and then we're going to veer off to the left and have a steady walk back. For some reason, this little section of Budby towards the northwest corner has always been more devoid of trees than the other sections. Don't know why. It's always been that bit more open, and now that bit of breeze makes it seem even more exposed. But it is warm. The sun is lovely and warm today, and this path was scraped wider a couple of years ago now. It goes up over the hill there, so I've got an incline to come. And I thought there may well be a few red admirals flittering through, but to be honest, I haven't seen a single butterfly here today, not even a speck of wood. So we'll press on and head back to the car. It's a grand view. Grand, not only because it's a nice view, but because there's nobody in it. I've discovered these last 2 years that I'm happiest when it's like this, when it's just myself in nature. Can't help it, it's just the way it is. And I don't have a deal of say in the matter really, it's what life's thrown at us. You have to make do. I would prefer things not to be the way they've turned out, but that's life and that's it. I can stand this kind of thing. It's not a bad place to be after all.